once more into the fray together, eh? What a sick way to fight, eh? The glory of the clash is shared by Radahn and you. I need to check the mistress is safe. My thanks, friend. Let's give them a show to remember, eh?
I don't understand them as well. They have a hunter already. I'm dead here. Yeah, well played. Oh, we killed the host! Fucking stupid fuck. Is he dead?
Hello friends, welcome back. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe and comment. In today's video we are going to reviewing the Royal Greatsword, probably the most badass weapon, the coolest weapon there is in Elden Ring at the moment. I mean, it looks amazing, it has tons of range. It's the weapon that has been wielded by the half-wolf Blaidd, which is one of the best characters so far that I've encountered in Elden Ring, being like his whole story with Ranni, how he's like semi in love with her and how dedicated he is to, you know, fight for her and even fight the fate that the god has decided for him in order to serve her to the full extent of his ability, even going to the extent of dying in order to serve his mistress. And I think the whole story was just very beautiful, and yeah, it's just fucking awesome. With that being said, the real question is the Royal Greatsword lives up to the name of Blaidd, lives up to the legend that Blaidd was? And the quick answer is going to be no. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love this weapon. I think it's as I said, it's really cool, beautiful, tons of range, good damage, but this weapon is suffering from two main detriments, which are it's a colossal sword, the type of build you need to do, and being stuck with the Ash of War. So I guess that makes three downsides to the sword. So the number one problem being a colossal sword is that it's a weapon that has a very slow moveset. What really saved the colossal sword at the moment is the fact that they have an amazing crouch and rolling R1. It's a poke that comes out really quick, that has tons of roll catch potential. I mean, you can stun lock people into roll catch hell with that, and that's really the biggest asset of this weapon. The jumping R2 can do tons of damage, so it's really for quick bursts of damage. The problem is that many weapons can do almost as much damage. I'm thinking about the double spear setup, can do almost as much damage with a lot less risk, because the problem is that once you do an attack on a colossal sword, the recovery frame, the time that you take from recovering from your attack, if you whiffed, if you missed your attack, is going to be a detriment, because you can get punished, especially when you're fighting multiple people. Having a slow weapon can lead to your death, because if you miss your attack, you know, let's say you attack first and then they dodge it, they can backstab you, they can punish you very easily. And that goes on to my second point with the question of the Ash of War. What saves really Colossal Sword at the moment is the fact that you can switch up Ashes of War. I'm thinking mostly about the Greatsword, the sword very much inspired from Berserk, and the Zweihander. Those are very those are very top tier colossal sword at the moment. And what saves them is that you can put, for example, you can put Bloodhound Step, one of the fastest, most mobile tool that you can have in the game at the moment, that literally makes you invincible. Well, you can put it on the Zweihander, you can put it on the Greatsword, but you cannot put it on the Royal Greatsword, because every special weapon, boss weapon, and weapon that are upgradable by using Somber Smithing Stone have a locked Ash of War. You know, you can swap up Ashes of War between weapons that are regular weapon, but all the special weapon, they're stuck with them, and that's a bit of a detriment. Also, I think it's here also for balance, because if those weapons that usually have high damage could also swap up Ashes of War, that will be just too OP and there will be no reason to use anything else. But the problem is when the Ash of War, such as here, is not so great. So don't get me wrong, guys, the Ash of War is super sexy, it looks amazing, it's a big homage, it's a brief tribute to Berserk overall and the fighting style of Guts. I mean, the whole fucking game is just a big homage, a big legacy tribute to Kentaro Miura, which is the author behind Berserk, which is a manga that inspired the whole plethora of story that we've seen from since the 90s, like this whole like dark fantasy theme. It's a manga that really revolutionized the whole dark fantasy genre, and not just in the manga world. And the Souls game, as many of you know, are very much inspired from the work of Kentaro Miura. And unfortunately, Miura passed away last year. Terrible tragedy that hit us all, and it was just really devastating to know that he was dead. It's weird because, you know, you have those people that you've never met, you don't know them, but somehow their work kind of change your life and it hits you to the you know, to your guts, to your bone. And yeah, if you look around, you see all these Greatsword monuments around in the lands between in Elden Ring, and those are all, you know, little tribute to Kentaro Miura. So the Ash of War is going into that tangent of like quick stylish, you know, swordsman that has a big ass sword. And the Ash of War does tons of damage. It's a double thrust. So first of all, you jump into the air, you thrust your weapon into the ground, and on the second part of the Ash of War, you pull out the weapon from the ground, and it does a big AoE explosion that can frostbite your opponent, deals magic damage, and it's super cool, and it can get people caught off by surprise. The problem is that if anyone knows a little bit what they're doing, they're not gonna get caught by the Ash of War because it's way too telegraphic. It's way too easy to dodge, and after your first thrust into the ground, people can just backstab you. It happened to me a couple of times because yeah, the intro clip was cool and stylish, but let's be honest, most of the people I was facing over there were just noobs. You know, they didn't really know what they were doing, so they were trying to hit me as I was pulling the sword out of the ground, and they would get hit by the AoE damage and they would just fucking die. And yeah, I think this is really what pulls this sword back, the fact that the Ash of War is kind of stuck. It's a shame because it has tons of range. The rolling and crouching R1s are amazing. It does a lot of damage, but unfortunately you're stuck with the Ash of War. The other problem that this sword is suffering from is the fact that in order to use it, you have to rely on having a strength and intelligence build. And the problem is that, so in order to wield this weapon, you need 26 strength and 22 intelligence. You don't need to go to 26 strength because you can bypass it by two-handing your weapon. But the problem is that at the end of the day, it scales with strength and intelligence. And although you can still get a good damage output by putting most of your points into intelligence, you would still need, I mean, the weapon will still perform much better if you put stat point into strength. And then you're stuck with a strength intelligence build. But the problem is that there are not many weapons that works really well with strength intelligence build. So I think that's a bit of a downside, but although it's not the end of the world, you can definitely make a build work with strength and intelligence. There's a couple of other weapons that you could use, and you can also, you know, use spells in order to use it. But I think it's a weapon that requires a lot of investment because it also weighs a lot. Like, you need to have a lot of endurance, you need to have great jaw arsenal or stuff like that to not fat rolling and still have a little bit of poise while using it. But you can actually do much better by using something else. So yeah, that's my thought on this weapon so far. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I'm probably still gonna use it. The way you can make it work, I think, is by hard swapping to it and make like a surprise attack. I mean, surprise attack with this weapon works really well when people don't see you coming, and you just use, you know, the Wolf Assault, Ash of War, then you deal stun of damage to them, then maybe you switch to a faster weapon to finish them off, or they don't see you using it, you use a faster weapon, and all of a sudden, poof, you pull out the Royal Greatsword and you put out the Ash of War, or you do just a jumping attack attack or crouching R1. That can definitely work. But yeah, to resume it a little bit, my points, the fact that you cannot change the Ash of War is really a downside, and the type of build that you have to do in order to use it is a bit of a downside too. But yeah, those are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I remember to you guys, let me remind you that I am answering to every comment. Please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe and comment. I'm really trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. Hope this review was helpful. Love you all. It was Valentin, and I see you, my fellow Tarnished, very soon in the Lens Between. Bye bye.